The matriarch twirled a feather that was woven into her waterfall hair. She lounged in the gloom with a haughty boredom, as if a sword wasn't battling to gank its new mistress, her daughter. But then the matriarch had set up this contest. My shoulders ached, my arms strained from forcing back the blade. Inside, violet and black clashed with smothering white. I licked my lips, forcing my charred fingers looser on the hot hilt. Just 1 inch more, and I'd be a fine red mist. I glanced up from the crackling blade and caught Drake's eye. Then I wished I hadn't. Still pinned with his wings hammered into the wall, with his quivering arms suspended from the ceiling, Drake no longer slumped in his bondage. Instead, he could have been ruling atop the mountain of feathers with me, looking down on the valley of bones and the world he'd subdued. Painted with crimson, glorious in pain, awe-inspiring in righteousness, I quailed, taking a step towards him before slipping in a puddle of his candy-floss blood. Flight soared out of my hands. I stumbled forwards, catching myself around Drake's neck, and frankincense tongued me. I panted, hazy with agony, fear, and a desire that flushed me with guilt because he was the enemy, wasn't he? Angel blood, world's best black market aphrodisiac. At last, flight blasted back into my hand like a question, and I screamed. White-hot flames feathered out between both our guts, kissing along our arched bodies. We gasped in unison. Then Drake's lips were against mine, as hot as flight. I jerked back, but Drake's whisper stopped me. Dare. His gaze was desperate, pleading. Did I trust him? Hell, I wasn't a wallard. But strung up, forced, unweaponed, a bloke needed some respect. I gave a curt nod. Drake bit at my lip, pulling me closer, before he murmured, "Be still. I propose 7 days to become a different kind of monster princess, rather than slipping into the monstrous shadow of your mother, or my flight shall kill you." I jerked away from him. Flight's hilt cooled as the fire died. With a shudder, the white slipped from my mind. I stared down at the sword in my shaky hands. So much power. Drake had saved me, except if I didn't take on his dare and reject, in whatever way I could, the matriarch's transformations, then in 7 days my own weapon would turn assassin. Light fingers traced down my spine. I jumped as the matriarch rested her chin on my shoulder, her arms around my waist. My mum hadn't hugged me before, but this parody made me want to scratch off my own skin. 7 days, I believe. The matriarch's tinkling laugh would have shattered fairies' wings. I gritted my teeth. Drake screwed closed his eyes. What? Did you think I'd mistake you for whispering lovers? Boy, you are delicious in your anger, and your contempt for my wing, baby bird, makes for sugared, hate-filled treats. She swung me round like a rag doll. Children, both of you. I'm all grown up, bitch. I shrugged away from her, and she let me. Her gaze, however, was frosty once more. Then you play for adult stakes. 7 days to become, how did my boy so naughtily put it? My monstrous shadow. If not, then I shall do the honours of the kill. That's not fair. I can't become both like you and not like you. In a week I'll be ganked whatever I do. Drake still hadn't opened his eyes, his head hanging low. Not that I blamed him. The matriarch pushed a tendril of hair, which had curled into the pool of scarlet on the floor, away with her stiletto, like a sweeping brush. By my wing, did those silly humans teach you life was fair? I twisted away, resting my hands against the wall. If there was one thing I knew, it was how unfair life was. So I get to choose death by shank or psycho queen. Hush, princess. You get to choose who you are. Drake still didn't look up, but I jolted at the intensity of his words. And I believe you to be extraordinary. Extraordinary or not, I had 7 days to become a princess in a new supernatural world. If I didn't become a saviour for Drake, I was dead, Chunky Salsa style. And if I didn't do a Cinderella for my mum, I'd dance to the same sizzling tune. What did I know about ruling? I'd been an orphan, dropout, and gamer. And I was still a prisoner.